Now guys, we've all seen in the news and read reports about tourists that got arrested for fairly innocuous things. Unfortunately, they're all true. So here's 10 things that you definitely don't do when you're here in Dubai, the UAE, or anywhere in the Middle East. Number 1. Substances. Drink and drugs is generally not tolerated. Yes, there's plenty of alcohol here in the Middle East. Even though it's a Muslim country and they generally aren't supposed to drink it, you won't find any problem finding it in a supermarket, in a bar, or a hotel. But keep it in a bar or a hotel, because quite frankly, if you are caught with alcohol in the middle of the street, or if you're drunk in public, this can get you arrested and fined. What's less tolerable than alcohol is drugs. If they find drugs on you, if they find drugs stuck to you, if they even suspect that you're doing some kind of drugs, this is a surefire way of landing here in prison. If you are into drugs, don't bother doing them here. And if you do enjoy a drink, make sure you enjoy it in a licensed bar and enjoy it sensibly. What about tobacco? Well, generally tobacco is allowed, but only in designated areas. There are specific signs that will point you out to these designated areas where you can smoke. Failure to contain yourself within these areas will obviously land you a fine. Number 2. Don't eat and drink during Ramadan. Currently, I'm here in Dubai, and it's Ramadan. This means that you can't eat or drink between the hours of sunrise and sunset here in Dubai. Now, I know what you're going to be thinking. That means I'm going to starve to death. That means I'm going to die of thirst. Well, not necessarily. Yes, it's true that some restaurants close up completely. There's nothing you can do about that. But the ones that stay open will black out their windows, put black curtains up, and put up signs saying that they are open to non-Muslims and children. So you can still go in and consume food and beverage, but you can't leave the premises with it. So it's better than nothing, I guess. What's even more inconvenient is if you do this in a shopping mall. There are food outlets that will serve you the food, but they'll put it in a plastic bag and they'll tell you to consume it in the food court. Now, these shopping malls are palatial, and you might be walking 500 meters or more just to reach the nearest food court to take a sip of water. So even though it's inconvenient, it's not the end of the world. Remember, you're in a foreign country with a foreign religion, and you have to be respectful of the local laws, religions, and customs. Number 3, don't stay in a hotel room with somebody that you're not married to or closely related to. If you're a young couple and you want to come to Dubai and you want to sleep in the same room together, bear in mind that this is actually illegal, and they will check at reception. There are ways of getting around this. Number 1, wear fake wedding rings. Bring photos of you photoshopped in wedding dresses and suits, etc. And just argue that you just not had time to change your names, etc. That's usually enough to kind of alleviate any suspicion from the hotel staff. But this is a law that they enforce strictly, so if you do find yourself foul of this law, you could be facing quite a lengthy prison sentence. Whilst we're on the subject of spouses, public displays of affection are not tolerated. So in the West, we're happy to hug each other, kiss each other, or grope each other, I guess, in the middle of the street. This is not tolerated here in Dubai or the Middle East. This can get you arrested in the worst case scenario, but more often than not, this gets you a tongue lashing from the locals and people who get offended by that. Number 5, dress code. You've got to dress modestly when you're here in Dubai. Now, I know it's hot. It's always hot, it's a desert country, but you still have to cover up skin. So for men, short sleeve shirts and shorts that go over the knees, and for women, something that covers the shoulders and a long flowing dress that hides the legs. If you stick to that, you generally won't suffer here. And yes, there are tourists that walk around generally half naked, and yes, people don't bat an eyelid, and sometimes they get away with it, but do you want to take that chance? They enforce this rule strictly in places like mosques and government buildings, they won't let you near the place if you're dressed inappropriately, so bear that in mind when you're packing your suitcase. Number 6. Don't use obscenities or hand gestures. Swearing can get you arrested and fined. So people understand English, they know all the English swear words. If they hear you saying it, they will dob you in, or at least give you a good telling off. Aggressive hand gestures are also not tolerated. So even doing something like this is an insult, doing this is an insult, and obviously that and that will get you arrested. So if in doubt, don't use any hand gestures at all. Number 7. Don't take people's photos without their consent. So obviously there's a lot of cool things to photograph here in Dubai. But you gotta watch out, because if you take a photograph of someone and they don't give consent, this can land you into some serious trouble, especially if you take pictures of women, children, or Emiratis. They hate that, and if you are caught taking photos and they've not agreed to it, you're going to land yourself in jail. That's not a joke. In general, you can go around and take as many pictures as you like with your cell phone, so long as it's for personal use. If you're a professional like me and you're wielding around a giant DSLR, security will shut you down pretty much immediately and ask you if you have permission or a permit slip, most of which I don't have. They're very protective about their property, and professional photographers generally have to pay to take commercial snaps. So if you are wielding a professional looking DSLR, don't be surprised if security or police come and ask you for permits. If they do tell you to leave, pack your camera away and leave without question. Don't argue. Arguing with them is a surefire way of getting yourself into some serious trouble. Number 8. Don't act like a complete tourist. But Nin, I'm on holiday, I should be able to enjoy myself. Yeah, you should be able to enjoy yourself. And so long as you're respectful of the local laws and traditions, you can enjoy yourself. What's not tolerated is if you act like a complete tourist. If you're loud, aggressive, you dance in the street, if you're being a general nuisance, people are going to notice. You will stand out like a sore thumb, and it won't be too long before security take notice and decide to fine you or even call the police. So bear that in mind, that the more loutish your behaviour, the more you stand out, the more likely you're going to be caught doing something. Number 9. Don't post on social media. Wait, what? Social media? Yes, social media can get you into some serious trouble. The rules of thumb are: don't criticise the government, don't criticise the royal family, don't criticise the country, and don't criticise the religion of Islam. We've all heard of the guy that got arrested for posting on Facebook here in Dubai, and this happens quite a lot. Dubai's cybersecurity is second to none. So if you have criticised them at some point, they will fine you, they will arrest you, and they will throw you into jail. And the same goes for if you've been distributing or downloading porn. They don't tolerate that either. So if you are thinking about doing anything like that, for the love of God, don't. Number 10. Pay your bills. It seems rudimentary. Pay your bills, right? If there's a dispute between you and a restaurateur or you and a taxi cab driver, and they believe that you owe more money than you think you do, ask politely if there has been some kind of mistake. But if they insist that they are in the right and you are in the wrong, even though you know you're right, for the love of God, just pay the money. I know that goes against our Western way of thinking, but not paying your bills is a serious crime here. So if they do dispute that you've not paid anything, they can literally call the police will come, and who are they going to believe? The local or the tourist? Of course they're going to believe the local, and you're going to land yourself into some serious hot water. If you're in a dispute, just pay the money. It's not worth your freedom. And bonus tip, don't steal. If you're not sure whether to take something that you might think is free, always ask, because stealing is a capital crime here. They really don't tolerate stealers here. So if you are thinking about shoplifting, don't, because the penalties are actually really severe. Dubai is relatively crime-free because they enforce their laws strictly and without mercy. So bear this in mind before you actually come here. If you're respectful of the local laws, customs and traditions, you'll have an amazing time here. I've done stuff that I've never done in my life during my 10 days here in Dubai, and I guarantee you'll have a wonderful time. so long as you don't do those 10 or 11 aforementioned things. If you have found this video at all helpful, please be sure to like, share and subscribe. Comment on the comment section below, and if I do get enough suggestions for ultimate bucket lists, tweet them at me also. If I get enough suggestions, I'll go ahead and do that. So guys, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.